Aussie coal is back in favour. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of, well, right now I've got ice cold water because it's bloody hot in Queensland at the moment. Coffee if you prefer. And I want to talk about, well, this article. Before we go through this article, China backflips on the coal ban and starts contacting Aussie producers. Well, I want to go through just a little bit of a refresher about China returning to Aussie coal, because there was a lot of negativity and fear in the last few years about just China cutting off Australia coal. They were banning Aussie coal, banning Aussie coal, banning Aussie coal, thermal coal banned. They were having blackouts at one point because, well, one could argue some of the coal that was banned could have been an issue, but we'll see. Now, if we have a look here, this is from the Observatory of Economic Complexity. The data's from 2020, but it's showing you where our coal is being exported to. Majority is now to India, to Japan, and then China. And then, well, you've got South Korea and Taiwan. So there's still enough demand for our coal. We're one of the biggest producers in the world. And as a Queenslander, well, I've worked on coal mines as an architect. So, yeah. Coal comes from Queensland. Iron ore pretty much comes from Western Australia, All the East Coast is our coal, not just Queensland, New South Wales as well. And the West Coast is the iron. So you can see here, well, I want to draw attention just to the significant number of coal power plants around the world. Have a look at Australia there. We've got 19. And you've got people that are screaming blue murder that we should shut all of them down to save the world. Do they not see charts like this? Do they not actually understand reality? I think a lot of people, particularly here in Australia, I think they see this, I think they get it, but they want to signal, they want to be virtuous, they want to lead the way. They really overestimate how much of an impact a colony on the edge of the planet can have. I mean, come on, really. You can see here, this is great if you want to have an understanding of how much coal is coming out of or how much coal is used in China just for power production. I know a lot of ours it's used for steel manufacturing as well. Yeah, go to the Baker Institute, look at their China energy map. The next time anyone tells you Australia has to stop exporting coal, because it is just, it's a joke. It is a complete joke, okay? It's nuts. We are reducing the quality of our life and the cost, and increasing the cost of living here in Australia for absolutely no benefit at all. People would argue, well, there's a damage from the particulate matter of all of these power plants, but it's not in Australia. It's in these countries. It's in China. It's in Africa, where they've got terrible urban planning and they don't have sufficient scrubbers here on this infrastructure, or they've got vehicles without catalytic converters to capture all the toxins coming out of the vehicles. Yeah, the world isn't on the brink of collapsing, guys. It's not going to come to an end. We're not facing a global apocalypse from the environment. I'm sorry. Humanity always finds a way to survive. You're still gonna have to pay your credit cards, guys. Oh, hang on. Wait. We'll jump back there. So let's have a look at this article. China backflips on the coal ban and starts contacting Australian producers. So China is now officially coming crawling back to Australian coal producers, but one local mine has rejected them and is selling to Taiwan instead. Well, that's not crazy. It's a free market. They can. Before we jump through this article, let's just bring up here trading economics. Let's look at the coal price. And what are we at? Oh, it's crashed down to $218. But let's go 10 years. So it shot up over 400. I remember the last time, well, back in 2011, it's not on the chart. Well, maybe it is. Around here, we were working on coal mines. And I remember when it was up at this price, over $100, $130 higher, the mines would look, the accommodation provided for the workers on the mines was quite luxurious. And then they started dropping it down the quality. But just look at that. It's just going crazy. Let us know in the chat if you've invested in any coal mines and are doing well. I'm quite happy with my iron ore investments. So, China has now officially come crawling back to Australian coal producers just 2 years after implementing a shadow ban designed to cause economic pain. On Monday, ASX-listed mining company New Hope Corporate confirmed to news.com.au that several Chinese buyers had approached them in the past month looking to purchase their coal. It follows years of tension between the two nations as a trade war broke out during the COVID-19 pandemic. At the beginning of 2020, China imposed a number of bans on Australian products, including iron ore, wine, beef, barley, and even lobsters, after then Prime Minister Scott Morrison called for an investigation into the origins of the coronavirus. Although the coal ban was never official, for the last 2 years, China has shadow banned the Australian resource, putting it on an invisible blacklist. And I remember looking at all of these other products that were so insanely dependent on China, particularly lobsters. It was really dependent on China. And Chinese New Year, they stopped it. And it was a big deal for that industry. So that's why you want to diversify. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. And that goes for all scales of business, from the top all the way down. The move was designed to punish Australia and bring the economy to its knees, but now China has lifted the ban. Unconfirmed reports first emerged in early January that China was relaxing its coal ban. The CCP reportedly allowed 4 of its major importers, including China's biggest steelmaker, Baowu, I probably butchered that, to buy up Australian coal in the first week of January. According to the Sydney Morning Herald, several other Australian mining companies, which preferred not to be named, have also been approached by Chinese manufacturers in the last month, as well as New Hope Corporation, which has its head office in Brisbane. In a statement to news.com.au, New Hope corporate spokesperson said they have seen a sizable increase in inquiries from Chinese buyers in the past month. But in an embarrassing moment for China, the Australian mining company isn't willing to supply them with their coal because no, I wouldn't say that. I mean, are they intentionally not willing to supply them? You can't supply them if you've got other commitments. Their coal is going elsewhere to Taiwan. So it looks like our reporter here is trying to frame this in a certain way. This is the thing, it's supply and demand. There's a whole lot of fear over this, that this would wreck the Australian economy, but there's a lot of other markets that want our quality products. The group's current production remains fully contracted to existing customers, including long-term international customers in Japan and Taiwan, a spokesperson said. Prior to the trade spat, China's coal purchases generated $13 billion for the Australian economy, according to 2019 figures, then dried up in 2020 practically overnight. However, Australia bounced back quickly after finding alternative markets in India, Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea, among others. Soaring prices saw coal companies enjoy hefty profits, with revenue for the material tripling in the 21-22 financial year to $68 billion. China, however, took an economic hit because of the ban. The official removal of the coal ban comes just months after China experienced rolling blackouts for several months throughout the middle of 22, but was unable to buy Australian coal, which would have been an easy fix. Even though more than 2/3 of China's electricity comes from coal-fired plants, the nation is unable to officially buy any Australian coal for the last several years. However, Chinese buyers still found ways around it. Reports from September 21 claim China was paying $595 a tonne for Aussie coal to come through a middleman to avoid directly going through an Australian producer. Well, there you go, guys. Nature finds a way. The market provides. The market provides. That's more than double what Australian coal mines were selling it for at the time. The Australian Strategic Policy Initiative estimated that China was losing $2 billion a week by paying this premium price to receive the product through a third party. So there we have it, guys. Let's have a bit of a talk about that. So we can see here, the market for coal in Australia, the industry didn't crash, it didn't collapse. All of the fear-mongering news really hasn't materialized into anything that affected it, affected the economy, did it? It really, so we need to just be a bit cautious with a lot of the headlines that we see out there and look into them a bit further. We now have precedent where a whole lot of industries heavily dependent on one nation, didn't only survive, it looks like some of them have thrived. So this is good news. So all the foolish people out there who are arguing coal is dead, we don't need coal, it's a dying industry, I've got no idea how they could argue that. That doesn't make any sense. Are they ideologically possessed or are they legitimately stupid? That's what I have to ask. Or do they just believe what they're told by the party and just start following the line? I mean, look at the numbers. This is. I don't get it. I really don't get it, guys. You explain to me, please. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're a fan and enjoy the content. You can support us in a few ways. Check out Heise BIM and Heise Does. Support us financially on YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now.